Hello and welcome to the incredibly influential and highly successful podcast. My name is Kale. I'm incredibly influential.
And my name is Maxwell, and I'm highly successful.
Today is we're kind of late because today is
Just say the date.
it is January 15th. It is Monday night. This is going up in like 12 hours, so we're cutting it a little close.
But
I'm a
only the
little bit
patrons
antsy.
will hear it.
That's true. The patrons are going to hear it a little early, but
For
we're
everyone
gonna
else, this is like pretty normal.
Yeah, true. That is true. Yeah. So I'm just a little bit antsy, but you know what? I'm glad that we're here now. We're here. We're talking, and you know what? I've got something. I've got something here
I
to
hope you
talk
do.
about. Because I think I did make you finish it, didn't I?
Finish what?
We're talking about Echo. Max,
Oh,
did you finish
yeah.
Echo?
I watched the Man of Recaps.
You know what? Fair. Honestly,
I basically know everything that happens in the show. I know Daredevil is in the show. How much
yes.
of this show do you want to talk about for this?
So is Man of Recaps? He recapped the whole thing.
Yeah, he
You don't
did.
you don't mind spoilers?
No, he talked about everything. He spoiled the whole show for me.
Uh, well, you know what? Let's just talk about all of it because
All
they
right,
dropped it
cool.
all at once. So that's the first thing I'm going to talk about. Um,
They didn't
but
have enough faith in this show for weekly episodes, and they're pretty right.
how much of it did you actually watch? Right, like actually watch?
None of it.
None of it at all. Okay, word. Um, well,
I'm glad you're already like all okay with that. Love that.
uh, well, yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say a couple things off the bat. Uh,
This is not very off the bat of you.
I'm trying to figure out a way to say this, but um, this wasn't made for me. So take all
Uh-oh.
of this
And who are
with
you,
a grain of
Kale?
salt. I shut up. Don't worry about it. I'm a fan of. First and foremost, I would say this show isn't made for fans of Daredevil because he barely shows up in it.
Yeah, I know about that. He has one fight scene in the first episode.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the old suit, not the ketchup and mustard from She-Hulk. And I like that suit, don't get me wrong, but I love the old suit. It's great. So that's cool. Apparently that was during the blip.
So Daredevil didn't blip.
No, he stayed there, but I think that's how Kingpin got out. So, see Daredevil season 3. I guess I'll spoil Daredevil season 3 with you.
Oh shit! Now you're going into real risky territory.
Yeah, I know. It's still worth watching if you know this, because like obviously. But Kingpin gets sent to jail at the end of Daredevil season 3. And that was I think that came out in 2019. So that I think took place right before. I think that would have taken place in 2018. So right when right when Defenders ended is when Daredevil season 3 starts. And so that takes place I think in either 2017 or 2018. So it ended before the snap, right? So Thanos does his snap. Kingpin survives, Daredevil survives, but Kingpin's locked up. So I think my working theory is that he used the snap to escape from prison, right?
But that's not explained.
Yeah,
we don't get an explanation for why he escaped prison.
Yeah, but we don't really need to for it to work. Honestly, it makes sense. I'm just trying to bridge the gaps in my own head.
Okay.
But yeah, so we only got to see a little bit of Daredevil. We've been seeing a lot of Kingpin, and I think it's kind of weird that apparently this dude's, the Echo was. Well, all right. Here's what I'm saying, right? Or I guess here's what the show's saying. So what I'm saying is, it's weird that we didn't see Echo in the Daredevil shows because apparently she was super important to him. But I think what the shows are saying is that she wasn't important to him, and he was just using her. And you know, spoilers ahead, I guess, for the whole show. If you don't care, keep listening. If you do care, go ahead and watch it. I mean,
If you do
I don't
care, keep listening.
yeah, I don't regret watching it, is what I'll say, but I don't think it was made for me, and I didn't enjoy it as much as I have
Or
other Marvel projects.
if you do or
But,
don't.
yeah. So I'll say it was. Uh, I think honestly that does also kind of fit with Daredevil, with the lore that's set out in Daredevil, which is Kingpin feels alone. Um, and like he and
It's because they
I
didn't
won't.
have the budget for more criminals.
No, like he feels alone, like in his personal life, in Daredevil on Netflix. But I won't spoil anything more about that. But I'll say it makes sense that he treats Echo like she's super important, but like in reality she's not. That makes sense, and that's why we didn't see her in the Daredevil Netflix show. So, anywho, we start out with her. We get a little bit of first things first is apparently the Shoshone, or no, it's not the Shoshone, it's the Choctaw. I'm thinking about something else. Um uh I, my brain is fucking scatterbrained right now. But the Choctaw apparently are all fucking magic. Uh Apparently. Like they're all
Yeah.
descended from magic people.
Yeah. Is that like
That I
did they ask those people if that was a okay
I
portrayal?
guess. I guess. I don't know, man.
That's a big guess.
Like the people, um, like at the end of the show, they had like a big thank you to all the Choctaw people. So it's like, I guess they did. Maybe, I don't know. I think that might be like one of their foundation origin myths. I don't know, but it is kind of weird that apparently all the women who descended from this one Choctaw lady would have some kind of magical powers. Who are all the women who are directly descended from this one foundational woman, right? Would have magical powers, correct? I
Right.
guess is what the
Every
show is.
descendant.
Every
Or
I think
maybe
it
or maybe like every specific offspring has
I I,
magic.
I think how they explained it is because Echo has a direct line to her that she has those abilities, but they didn't specifically say that it's just Echo and her bloodline who can do it. So if it works like I don't want to assume that this is how it works. Like I don't want to put words in the showrunners' mouths, but if that is how it works, and every direct female descendant of that one initial Choctaw lady it has those kind of magic powers. Uh, I don't know. I think I looked it up. I googled it when I was watching the show because I wanted to like do my research on this, right? So the the Choctaw like people, I believe they like sort of came about in I guess they sort of like differentiated themselves sort of. I think it was more recently uh than you'd like think. Um they sort of like no. So we don't have a lot of history on them. So the earliest known things we know about them is that they were connected to uh uh a, a the larger like Mississippi River Valley collection of tribes back in 800 to 1500 CE. So it's like more recently than you think, but if every direct female descendant of that one initial Choctaw founder, in let's say 800 CE, right? If every single one of them has powers, that would be by this point like at least tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, right? Because like for example, I am a direct descendant of Charles the Great, like the founder of the Holy Roman Empire, right? But so is literally everyone else in Europe, right? Like that spreads out a lot over time. So like when you say, "Oh yeah, I'm a direct descendant of William the Conqueror," which I am, or like I'm a direct descendant of like Napoleon, or not Napoleon, but like yeah, well yeah, even Napoleon, right? Except I don't think he had kids. But like if you're direct descendant from like all those people, it's like so what at that point because there's just so many of them, right? So I think we would be seeing a lot more people with magical powers, especially considering um uh like I wrote a lot of notes in this sort of thing, but one of the notes that I put for episode 5 is Echo's mom has fucking superpowers in 2007. And I don't know if you
Was
remember this.
Echo's mom
Yeah, Echo's mom has those healing superpowers, right?
in 2007? This is
In
a weirdly
2007.
specific sentence for someone who
They
doesn't understand the whole show.
so they show a flashback to Echo's mom using her healing superpowers in 2007. Iron Man came out and takes place in 2008. So that means that Echo sees someone using fucking superpowers before Iron Man even exists and chooses to tell nobody.
I mean, that's not too far fetched. Like, what? We had the Captain America movie, and that takes place in the 40s.
Yeah,
That came out
but
after
most
the Iron Man movie.
but most people didn't know who Captain America was, and they didn't know that he had fucking superpowers and that he was, right? Like most people didn't know that. Most people didn't know about Captain Marvel doing shit in the 90s, right? Most people didn't know about Ant-Man doing shit in the 60s, right? So it's
So, what makes this different?
so this is her first exposure to superpowers.
Right, but what makes this different in like what you're questioning about why
I just
people
feel
don't
like
talk about it?
I just feel like if at least Echo's mom, no, I guess Echo's grandma doesn't have superpowers other than like visions and stuff. But like if you've got healing superpowers in 2007 when you don't when like nobody like knows about superpowers and stuff, right? That would be a big deal, right? I would think at least like some kind of story would come out about that, or like Echo. I don't know. It's just weird that like Echo,
Who was
like
around? I don't I don't see why this is like such a specific narrative point.
I just it it's
But
it's just kind of weird, right? To know that there are like people with superpowers before Iron Man, and nobody really like, and he's like the catalyst for the whole universe and stuff, right? Like
like
Vision
like
talks
Captain
about it in
America.
Civil War. Well, Vision talks about it in Civil War, which is that Iron Man is the first like publicly known about superhero, like publicly famous superhero, right?
Right.
Um,
Which kind of makes sense why her thing would happen in 2007, right?
yeah. So the year before Iron Man does his whole shit, she's got healing superpowers, and nobody raises like a big stink about that, which I just think is weird. Just because I feel like that would be a big deal. If somebody in our universe could heal things with their magic hands, that would be a big fucking deal. That's what I'm saying. But um other than that, whatever. Um
Ha.
I just think yeah. It's hard to like so Echo is the first in these like Marvel Spotlight shows. Did you hear about that? Did you talk about that?
What is that?
So Marvel Spotlight is supposed to be like these like special mini series that are
Oh,
sort of
yep.
more.
Yeah, I know
Yeah,
about them. They're not really they're not really original.
yeah, but well, but they're like focusing on like more character driven stories, not like largely connected to the whole MCU. Is sort of their whole deal, and so that's going to be a thing. And then Wonder Man is going to be a thing with
No, like
Yahya Abdul Mateen.
wasn't that like am I confusing Spotlight with the like
Oh, the Michael Giacchino, the Swamp Thing, not Swamp
no,
Thing, Werewolf
they
by Night
do
thing.
Disney Plus releases these like small 4-minute clips that are like recaps
No, 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 no.
of
I'm talking like they played a different logo before the show, where this is like a Marvel Spotlight. So they didn't use like the normal MCU logo. They did like the Marvel Spotlight thing, so it's different. But it's like what my point was going to be is like it's hard to like um think about like this gritty street level sort of thing uh compared to like when you have to take this gritty street level drama and place it in the larger context of fucking aliens exist, a giant purple alien wiped out half the universe, including half the people on earth, and like that sort of thing. You have to like justify those two things, right? So in the Marvel Daredevil show, they don't really talk about that. In the Netflix Marvel universe, right? It's still part of the MCU, but it's they do not really talk about it, right? Like I don't think Stark Tower shows up in the skyline, which I don't know why, because like it should still
I
be
think it's
there.
taken down. No, it gets taken down, doesn't it?
When do they take it down? Because it should be there in Spider-Man, right?
Right.
Because he launches the plane from there, but I don't think it shows up in Daredevil, right? But we do see Daredevil does have like references to it in like newspaper clippings on the wall, right?
That's
Like
kind of a
no,
nice jab.
and that's pretty much it, right? Like they like the newspaper clips talk about like the Battle of New York and like that I think was it either in Harlem or it was in Brooklyn where Hulk and Abomination fight in Incredible Hulk. But that's really it, right? So I think it's better to not sort of draw attention to that. But when you have one of the Avengers being the person who killed Echo's dad, right? And you have Echo having these like superpowers and stuff. It sort of puts Kingpin. It's the whole thing with like, how come Batman doesn't ask Superman for help to deal with like Penguin or Two Face, right? Because Superman could just deal with them in seconds.
Right.
So it's sort of that whole thing, right? Like, just
But he's
having
also in
all
another
these things.
city. He's in another city.
He's across the river and he can travel basically at the speed of light.
No, he can travel faster than a speeding bullet, which is different than the speed of light.
The speed of light is faster than a speeding bullet. But like he's able to like travel to Krypton in a few years, which is faster than light. Because if Krypton was that close, he would it would take him centuries to get there, if
Yeah.
not if he weren't
If
traveling at the speed
if
of light.
Krypton were still a planet,
Or like if he wanted to go to the ruins of Krypton, right, which he does in what is it after Superman 2? He goes there and he like checks that out, and then he comes back in two different timelines. There's two different timelines. There's the Superman Returns timeline and the Superman 3 timeline. Both of them kind of suck. But again, it only took him like a few years to go and do that. So it's like,
mhm.
you know, he definitely can travel faster than the speed of light, which is kind of fucking ridiculous. But yeah, like he could stop all of them, and it's the same sort of deal here, right? Where like, Daredevil's like a street level guy. He struggles fighting like just normal goons and shit, right? Um,
Are Echo and Daredevil on the same side at any point in the show?
Um, I mean, they weren't in that initial meeting, but Echo doesn't like Kingpin anymore, and Daredevil doesn't like Kingpin anymore. So, I guess. Do you want to know what's really interesting?
What's that?
Echo is Daredevil's adopted daughter in the comics.
That Wait, Echo is Daredevil's adopted daughter?
Yes.
That's kind of weird.
Right? Yeah. So they've given her a
Didn't
whole
they
new
have like
backstory.
didn't they have like a romantic relationship in
I don't remember that.
everything I've watched about Echo from the comics is that they had a romance.
Ah.
But
Oh, all right. Sorry. No. She is adopted daughter of Kingpin and supporting character of Daredevil. Holy shit, I can't read. I'm
ha, let's go. I'm here to fact check you.
okay. Yes, They might have. Yes. Okay. I think they did. Also, he did. She does shoot him in the face in the comics. Holy shit, that is actually fairly accurate. So yeah. But yeah. So he and her met. Oh. Here's the thing. Do you remember the Daredevil 2004 movie?
No. I mean, like,
Um.
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
So basically, the plot of that is, uh, Kingpin kills Elektra's dad. You know who Elektra is, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
Kingpin kills Elektra's dad and frames Daredevil. So Elektra wants to kill Daredevil, but she's in love with Matt Murdock. That sort of thing happened in the comics with Echo, which is weird. But
Yeah, it sounded like they ran out of like story threads.
yeah, but like, so the whole Maya shooting Kingpin in the face and taking out his eye, that happened in the comics, like pretty much beat for beat. Not like it was sort of like a combination of those two storylines in the comics, but like instead of dying like Elektra does, Maya finds out that Matt Murdock is Daredevil and then beats the shit out of Kingpin and just obliterates him. It's fucking lit. Um but here's the thing. Here's something that's pretty funny. Also, she was Ronin for a little while.
Yeah, in like a completely different universe,
No,
but
no, no. It wasn't. It
kind of funny.
wasn't the 616 universe. Well, here, that's what I really don't like. Right. So, do you remember in Across the Spider Verse when uh what's his name 2099 Spider Man says Earth 199999 uh that used to be what the MCU was, right? It was Earth 199999. And the main comics universe was Earth 616. But now the MCU says, fuck you, we're Earth 616 now, eat a dick. So that just sort of makes all the comics fucking non-canon and shitty, and that's really annoying. I liked it better when it was Earth 1999-99. But whatever, they fucked it up in Spider-Man, and then in what is it, Spider-Man Far From Home, and then they kept going with the fuck up instead of being like, well, Mysterio was lying. So yeah, that was annoying. But um yeah. So that is cool, that in this universe her origin story was started by Ronin, but in the comics she was Ronin. So that's interesting. I think a lot about this show is very interesting in like uh concept, but not in execution. I feel like in execution, here's where my problems with the show are. It's just not really all that well executed, and I didn't really care a lot about the characters. But I will say some of the action was really good. Like, we haven't had gory, well shot action in the MCU since Punisher and Daredevil itself, right? And it's really, really cool to see. Like, there's actual blood. People fucking die. It's not just people getting knocked out and shit or getting killed off screen. Like, there's blood and people die and people get shot, and it's awesome. So I love it. I love some of the action in this. Um uh yeah, so Kingpin lived. Um yeah. Uh Also,
What?
Here's something that's really funny is in episode 3 they sort of did a silent film opening about one of Echo's ancestors, but the silent film has sound in it. So like I don't think they know what a silent film is. So that was kind of funny. Also, Kingpin drinks fucking Shasta in episode 4, which is kind of hilarious.
Epic.
Yeah. Um but also Kingpin doesn't even talk about a character from the show that he probably should be talking about, and is yeah. Also, I'm gonna be honest. Um, I have a few concerns about this, and maybe it's not my place to make these concerns, right? But I do want to ask you. I want to get your opinion on this. Um, do you sort of feel like, from how it was explained to you, do you feel like there might have been like a little bit of like noble savage type stereotypes and like cliches and stuff like that
Hmm.
in the show? Like, do you know what I mean by that?
Like, what characters are you referring to?
Um,
Or are you referring to how like people treat Echo in the show?
I like for example, right? Like Echo's mom is struggling in childbirth, or no, sorry, Echo's grandma is struggling to give birth to Echo's mom, and they're like, and they're like the white hospital told her that there were going to be complications and there was nothing more they could do, but they instead took her out in the middle of the woods and she gave birth there and she was fine. And like that just feels like a whole, yeah, native people, they're in touch with nature. You just got to take them out to nature and everything will be fine, sort of thing, right?
Really? I when you say that, I hear something different.
That might just be how I took it, and I'm not really native myself, so I can't claim anything about that. I can't say, one way or the other, like, is that noble savage racism and shit, like, and again,
Can I
chop,
say what I think
absolutely,
the
yeah, go ahead.
okay, so there is a very bad relationship with um I don't know, the medical field of people of color.
I also I like hearing that and saying that. I get that. I do totally understand that. Like I can understand if that's the interpretation that people went with. Um, and like yeah, would also totally get that if that's what they were going for, and
Right.
if that's what most people took away from that.
I
It's
mean,
just yeah,
obviously it's only meant to like service the story, but like the meaning it can have is that could be what I pieced together from what you've
yeah,
described. Because I mean, if she has a normal birth and the people who were professionals said that she the that she was gonna not make it, then it's kind of like I don't know, a reflection of a very extensive history of medical malpractice,
yeah,
but
and I
but
I
not
I
not
totally get
directly
that.
shown, not directly shown, but
Yeah,
implied.
that feels like a valid interpretation. It feels like what they were going for, but like I don't know. I have been exposed to a little bit of noble savage racism in the lead up to that, right? So I had sort of like seen people being, sort of patronizing to we were sort of talking about like the North Sentinelese people. Like I had been seeing people talking about that. Um People talking about like the Houthis, talking about, and like the Taliban and stuff like that. Like I'd been exposed to a lot of that sort of discourse. Um, so I guess I had that on the brain, and I was just sort of like, just when I saw that, my immediate gut reaction was like, you know, in quotes, I wrote down, "White medicine is bad. Take her out to an unsterilized woods and give her magic Indian childbirth." And that's and like so I had noble savage racism on the brain. I was like, that feels a little weird, but like I totally understand like
I mean,
if
you
that's what they were referring to, because there were a lot of stories about that last year and like in the lead up to that. So I totally understand if that's what they were going for and not sort of my whole thing.
you make a valid point as well, in
Yeah,
that like it kind of implies that you know they can be self. I mean, obviously, they're talking about superpowers, but
yeah,
there is like possible interpretation that you know
yeah. I
indigenous people can function outside of like you know institutions,
yeah,
which
but
is like kind of a negative imp- implication because it should be like those two should go hand in hand.
yeah, and I guess I would also say like more to your point, right? If you are showing that sort of thing where like you know the white doctor doesn't treat them but they don't need it, like they're going out and they're doing it their own way and it works out for them, I feel like that only reinforces some of the stereotypes that sort of led to that initial thing where like doctors don't really like treat them the best because they're like you know so like I would worry that that would reinforce the stereotype, but again, I'm not native, I have no reason to like I my opinion is completely like not uh well versed in this like at all, so don't take me with a grain of salt. um that's just where my thoughts were, but like yeah, I just it felt sort of weird. And also I would say ultimately because we do have to go to the ad break, I would say before we do that, um don't give birth in the woods is what I'll say. Like that's probably not a good idea to give like
Unless you have superpowers.
unless you have superpowers, don't give birth in the woods because the woods are not sterilized and there's a lot of fucking diseases in there and it's really gross. So don't give birth in the woods. Give birth in a at least at home. Uh at
Spouting
least
some
in
knowledge.
at least in some kind of like sterilized environment, partially sterilized at least. Have some Lysol with you for God's sake. That
Ah,
there you go. There's my medical advice for you is maybe don't give birth in the woods. There you go. And we'll go to the ad break. So
amazing.
that way anyone who's planning on having kids while listening to this, who's like about to go into labor, you know, don't go to your nearest woods. I would say go to the hospital, um, or call up a midwife or something and give birth at home. But yeah, OBGYNs are generally pretty good at their job. There's a few bad eggs, but you know what? Generally pretty good at their job. So don't give birth without medical professionals. There's my advice. We're going to the ad break now. Goodbye. This episode is sponsored by Liquid IV, the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. We've been partnering with them all summer, and I've been using it to beat the heat through some of these particularly nasty heat waves. While it was scorching hot outside, I was staying cool and refreshed with Liquid IV and their 12 delicious flavors.
One stick of liquid IV in 16 ounces of water hydrates you twice as fast and far more efficiently than water alone, and it also contains 5 essential vitamins and 3 times the electrolytes of leading sports drinks, without any GMOs, gluten, dairy, or soy. Liquid IV is also committed to equitable access to clean water worldwide, partnering with leading organizations to fund and foster innovative solutions with communities that protect both their water and their futures, and donating 39 million servings in 50 plus countries around the world.
Real people, real flavor, real hydrating. Get 20% off when you go to liquidiv.com and use code IIHS podcast, all one word, at checkout. That's 20% off anything you order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code IIHS podcast. Again, all
This
one word,
podcast is
at
sponsored by Amanda
liquidiv.com.
Redline,
Thank
your
you again to Liquid
no-nonsense
IV for
talk
partnering with
therapist
us.
and parent coach. Serving individuals and couples in both Illinois and Florida for counseling/therapy, as well as worldwide for parent coaching. Amanda's specialty is working with teens and young adults, as well as their family systems. Amanda has extensive experience working with youth who identify on the LGBTQIA+ spectrum. She has also done couples work, based on a foundation of the Gottman method. She brings a light, no-nonsense approach to treatment that is approachable and empathetic. She is unflappable and makes her clients comfortable from the very beginning. Find out more at www.amandaredwine.com. That's AMANDAREDWINE.com. Thank you again for sponsoring this episode, and back to the show.
All right, hello, we're back. I hope you enjoyed that kernel of wisdom.
Shout out to all my birthers.
That doesn't. I don't think that means what you think it means. I don't think that means what you think it means.
I don't know. I don't know who else we're giving advice to.
No, when you say birther. Anywho. So also another thing about Echo in the comics that I sort of wanted to talk about. So she's got like superpowers and shit now, right?
Yeah. Now.
So in the comics, she briefly had, she has like normal superpowers, sort of similar to Daredevil in that like her eyesight's really good, her reflexes are really good. Yeah, like she's deaf, but she like makes up for it in other areas. Daredevil, same way. But like she gets like actual supernatural powers from in the comics, she gets it from the Phoenix Force, which Jean Grey also
Kinda
Phoenix
random.
Force. Yeah. I'm sure they go into it more in the comics, but her like alter ego when she has the Phoenix Force is called Thunderbird, which is cool, right? But there's no Phoenix Force in the MCU yet because there's no
X-Men.
There's no X-Men. There are mutants. They Miss Marvel is a mutant. So we have at least one mutant. I think we have some others. I'm not sure. But she but like they wanted to give her superpowers, but obviously they can't give her the Phoenix Force, right? So they sort of have made her her superpowers sort of tie into her name Echo, and she's like the women of your ancestors echo through you, like you are an echo of your ancestors.
Right.
So I think that's kind of cool.
But what does her power become? Just I have the power of my ancestors?
She can heal people like her mom.
Oh, I see. So she has like the superpowers of all the people in her generation.
Yes, of all her ancestors, she gets like their powers and stuff. So she's an echo of them. Yeah, so it's like she has some superpowers, but obviously she can't be Thunderbird, but they wanted to give her powers, so they did that. And I think that's interesting. I think that sort of ties into the themes of the show. Again, this is really not made for me. This is really not made for me as a white, non-disabled man. Like the biggest disability I have is I have to wear glasses when I drive. Right? So I'm not legally blind. I'm not even close to legally blind. So I have no ability to relate to this show at all. And I think that's okay. There's some shit that's just not made for me. I think if you asked like native people or native women or especially, disabled native women, I think they'd say it's great representation. Maybe they can relate to it. I don't know. I can't relate to it, so it didn't speak to me. Wasn't my favorite representation of Kingpin personally. But I love Vincent D'Onofrio's performance anytime I can get it. He's my favorite actor in the MCU. He's so fucking good. Have you at least you watched Hawkeye, didn't you?
I did.
That's not a great representation of him either. You really got to get on watching those fucking Netflix shows, man. Daredevil season 1 will have you fucking hooked. He's so good. He's so fucking good.
I heard that's the best one.
I don't know if I would agree with that, actually. I don't think season 1 is...
No, I mean like Daredevil.
Oh, Daredevil is, yes, 100%. Clears everything. Punisher was good. Season 1 and Season 2 of Punisher were really good. Jessica Jones... Season 1 was really good. Season 3 was amazing. Season 2 had... Season 2 had like 1 or 2 really good episodes. And then sort of didn't really... Yeah, not great. You know what's really funny? Season 2 of Jessica Jones had the Power Broker in it, and I think they did him better than the actual Power Broker
Oh,
in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
yeah, that was stupid.
That was dumb. I was like, I wish they had brought him back because he's fucking awesome. He
The
wasn't
actual
like
power broker.
yeah, he wasn't like anything like special in that show. Like he wasn't like super over the top powerful. Like he wasn't like a Thanos or a Ghost or a like super like spectacle villain, right? But like he was cool, and I would have liked to have seen him get like a real like, you know, so like the comic character Power Broker is yeah, I would have liked to have seen him, but sadly, fucking Sharon Carter is the fucking Power Broker, and we just have to all deal with that now, and that sucks. But yeah,
When's the last time she came up? 4 years ago?
uh, not quite 4. I think it was 2021 when that show came out, so I think 3-ish. But yeah, that's dumb. Yeah, so that was interesting. You know, the whole Power Broker thing, but like, yeah, I just I didn't have like super high hopes for Echo. I was disappointed, but at the same time, a lot of that just comes from me not being able to relate to it. So, like, maybe that's that's just sort of me, and yeah. I would say overall, it's not like a poorly made show. I think everyone did a good job on the performances. I don't feel like there was anything particularly wrong with it. I just can't relate to it from my perspective. And I find stories better when I can relate to them, you know?
You're wrong for having that opinion.
But that's not to say that there are stories where there are all unrelatable characters that I still can't get like invested in, you know? Like you know, the Star Wars prequels. I don't really like them a lot, but you know, I still like them, even though like the main character is a former child slave turned weird creepy monk who wants to get his dick wet, and the other main character is already a weird creepy monk who can't get his dick wet and doesn't get his dick wet, and who wants his apprentice to stop getting his dick wet. You know, so that's like, I can't relate to that, but you know, I still like them. But yeah, I couldn't really get into Echo, and that is a shame because it brought Kingpin back, and I'm glad they didn't kill Kingpin off screen in Hawkeye. That would suck. And also, they're setting him up to be back in Daredevil Born Again, which is fucking great. Also, I feel like that title would make more sense if Daredevil had been snapped and then brought back, you know?
Ha.
But, I mean, I think that applies to what he went through in Season 3 of Daredevil, so I'll count it. I'm excited for it. They, did you hear any of the news about that, by the way?
No.
So the only 2 things I know about it are, Foggy and Karen, the 2 main supporting characters from the previous show, from the Netflix series, they were supposed to get either killed off or have been killed off screen in between Daredevil season 3 and Daredevil Born Again, but they fired the entire like writing staff, and they've decided, no, that was stupid. Foggy and Karen are still alive, and I'm really glad about that because Eldon Henson did a really good job, and I'm blanking on the name of who plays Karen Page, but she did a really Deborah Wool. You might know her from God of War Ragnarok. She did a fantastic job in as Karen as well. So I'm glad they're both coming back. That's good.
Dope.
Yeah. So hopefully it is different enough that it feels warranted, but they've had 2 seasons where Kingpin was a main villain in Daredevil, and so hopefully they can find some way to do it again better, right? And it sort of doesn't really make sense that Kingpin would be running for mayor after all the things he was accused of doing in season 1, and then went to prison for in season 2, and then and then he went back to prison in season 3, right?
The United States justice system just simply does not work.
Yeah, so I don't know how he's gonna run for mayor, but I don't know. Maybe they'll try and tie it into fucking Trump or whatever. Be like, Trump's running for president, even though he's like accused of crimes, and Kingpin is running for mayor. I don't know. By the way, how did you feel about the "Make America Skate Again" thing?
Did that happen?
It was it's on the wall in like a roller rink that's sort of important to the show. So I thought that was funny. That's like, we haven't gotten that many like Trump references in the MCU, which, you know what? Given like the sense of humor of like, and the political leanings of like all the actors involved, I'm kind of glad, because I feel like they would, if it was up to them and they didn't have more talented writers, they would be like, the Orange Man is bad, or like Thanos is bad, but this orange guy is way worse, that sort of thing. So, I'm glad they've had more restraint with that, and they don't do Trump shit, because a lot of other franchises have done Trump shit and it doesn't work, and it's kind of cringe. Like, I don't like Donald Trump, but it's fucking cringe, right? I'm sure you can think of an instance where somebody did some kind of like Trump reference in one of the can't you think of like a show or a movie or a franchise that has done like a Trump joke or whatever the fuck?
Not really.
The one that I can think of off the top of my head is Doctor Who. The Doctor Who season with the 13th Doctor, she did a few. There was like one character who was sort of like a parody of Trump, and he called her a nasty woman, and that's a reference. So it's like, ew, come on, Doctor Who, you really doing Trump jokes, really? So I mean, yeah,
Doctor Who has kind of been like focused on social issues.
That is true, but I think you can focus on some social issues and not be like, Trump bad, haha, get it, guys? Because there will be another Trump, right? There's always going to be another Trump.
Yeah,
but
I mean, it's kind of like interesting because it's about politics, but
yeah,
I don't know. A lot of things that aren't supposed to be political are turned political. So
yeah, I feel like they handled
flipping the switch is interesting.
Yeah, I feel like they handled social issues better in that season in like some other places, like during the partition, they went to the partition of India and Pakistan, and they were relatively mature about that. And then they also did Rosa Parks, and they were pretty mature about that. So it just feels like a cheap shot to be like, Trump is lay bad. Am I right, liberals? And it's lazy. It's lazy. But you know what? I'll tell you, the fucking the wine mom white women milquetoast liberal crowd loves that kind of joke. And you know what?
That was a
They
mouthful.
they raise a lot of money for the Democratic Party, and they all fucking vote because they have nothing better to do on a Tuesday. So you know what? Credit to them, right? If that's what makes them happy, and if that's what gets them to go vote blue, fucking orange man bad all the way, right? I'll put up with people making fun of him rather than having him as president. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's a cool red button.
You know what? We'll circle back to that. We'll circle back to that, even though I know the answer is going to be yes.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's fucking yeah. But I don't want to talk about Echo anymore. I
Ha.
yeah. Actually, I had one thing. Her gun didn't have like her gun wouldn't have been able to go off. Because like the hammer was up and it can only go off when the hammer is down. So there wasn't a bullet in the chamber for it to go off. I think Hollywood is playing it extra safe with fake guns or with, like gun props and stuff now that Alec Baldwin killed that woman.
Right.
Um
But now they're not even like aiming for accuracy.
yeah, like I mean people have made that mistake before with a 1911, People think it's like a double action pistol. Hollywood people don't know how guns work. So when you get like a mainstream Hollywood production, they usually don't know how guns work, so they, yeah. Dog, what are you doing? Why are you tearing up my carpet? My dog is just scratching in my carpet. Good for him. But like, people in Hollywood don't know how guns work, so in mainstream Hollywood productions, you get gun mistakes. It happens. But I just thought that was funny. I'm like, Echo, if you want to shoot him, you have to actually put a bullet in the chamber, please. And it was very funny.
That is funny.
But yeah, so that was just one thing I noticed that bothered me. But there you go. Echo, I mean, go watch it, I guess. If it speaks to you, it speaks to you. But I don't think it's going to be necessary at all for the larger MCU. So if you still give a fuck about the MCU, I mean, it's not necessary. So you can skip it if you want. I don't think she's going to be an Avenger anytime soon. And I'm not sure if she'll play into Daredevil Born Again. But it'd be cool if she did. I'd like that. I'd like to see how her and Matt play off each other. Also, sorry, there's one more thing that irked me about Echo, but then we're done. I promise. I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm done talking about it. So she gets a contact lens from Kingpin that lets her talk to people without using sign language. Like they can talk and it will like show her.
It'll like translate it.
Yeah. It puts up like these like ghost hands in front of them and the ghost hands speak sign. Why does she never like tells anyone that she has that? She lets everyone else like sign for her.
Yeah.
And she never like tells them, be like, "Hey, you can just talk normally. I have I have a thing now." Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was interesting.
That
she
is
never tells anyone
funny
about
as
that.
hell.
She might have taken it out when I was like Googling something or writing a note down. She might have like taken it out and like thrown it away or something. I don't know. But if she still had it, she didn't tell anyone about it, and I think that was interesting. And like, I guess maybe she did throw it out because she needed her cousin to be an interpreter in like the final thing. So I don't know. But yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. Go watch it, I guess, if you care. But I have a news story that I wanted to talk to you about. I wanted to get your thoughts on.
Give them to me.
And I also wanted to read you the quote of how I wrote this down. So here's a direct quote of how I wrote this down in my notes app. Blackface, digital blackface, Twitch streamer pretends to be black, Minecraft bed wars is how I wrote that down. Are you familiar with that story?
No.
So a Minecraft Twitch streamer was sort of identifying themselves as black to their fan base, posted like pictures of like a random black dude to be like, "Yep, this is my face reveal." That sort of thing. Said the N-word a whole bunch of times.
Refused to elaborate.
Yeah, and then turns out they were sort of like lying about a lot of things, and obviously the most harmful lie is that they were pretending to be black. And um, do you remember that meme going around back in the day? It was like back in like 2016, you know, when the Anita Sarkeesian and the all the BuzzFeed feminist things were going around, and like the Gamergate type shit. And like there was that one lady, and she was like, you know, white people shouldn't use gifs of black people because it's digital blackface, right? Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
I was gonna say, holy shit, that woman is vindicated because somebody actually did digital blackface. So good for her. Yeah,
That doesn't save her from all the other dumb stuff she said.
No, that was everything else she said was completely fucking brain dead. But somebody actually did do digital blackface. There you go. Yeah.
You gotta
Congratulations.
call
I
it
guess.
like you see it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I from what I heard, I guess the dude started when he was like a teenager, and he was just lying to fit in, and then when you start lying to fit in, you have to add other lies on top of it, and it all just spirals and shit. I don't know. Fucking don't lie to fit in, I guess. They're we're given all kinds of life lessons today. Don't give birth in the woods. Don't lie to fit in. Damn, this is the life lesson episode. You can really learn from us. We're great influences, right? You know?
Yeah, that's what the show's all about.
Right? You know? There you go. We really are just two bright beacons of hope for the next generation of people.
Right.
But yeah, I think I just thought that was an interesting story, just to be like, hey, somebody actually did do digital blackface. Also, as we are talking about this right now, it looks like we are getting the Iowa Caucus numbers right now.
Because Iowa is the only state in the United States where your vote matters.
Is that? I feel like you're being sarcastic.
I am being sarcastic.
Yes. Iowa is the first caucus,
Yeah.
or the first primary anything. So they had the caucus.
What
And
what party meets for that?
it's both. Both parties do caucuses in Iowa, and as of right now, Donald Trump easily won Iowa, and now it's a toss up between Nikki Haley and Ron Disaster for second place. So I'm hoping it's not Nikki Haley. I don't want Nikki Haley to become president because she's good for Raytheon. But if she does become president, I hope she is still good to Raytheon because I like getting rich. I'm a Raytheon stockholder. Eat shit, losers.
Is she a politician or a businesswoman?
She started out as like I think a senator or a representative from South Carolina, and then she became the governor of South Carolina, and then I don't think she tried to run for president in 2016, but she was appointed as the UN delegate for the United States by Trump in 2017 when he took office. And I don't know if she made it through his full term, but once she left that, she got a board member job at Raytheon, I believe. It's either Raytheon or Boeing. I hope it's not Boeing, because if she's on Boeing, she's fucked. With the do we want to talk about that? I feel like that's been talked to death. Like the the whole like the door popped off, and not not great.
No.
It's oh, she was on Boeing. Oof. Oof. And she might have been there's news coming out. Obviously, in the aftermath of the campaign, there's going to be a bit more scrutiny. And since that happened during the primary, apparently, some news outlets are reporting that she helped to kill like an initiative in the company that would have forced them to like sort of be more open and public about how it's lobbying with safety regulators and politicians. So she might have been to blame for that near disaster. I will say it's a near disaster. How about that? Because nobody died. It was very close, but nobody died, and I'm really thankful for that because holy shit, that could have been bad.
Oh
Yeah.
Shit.
Like, how the fuck are you that dumb that like you can't even build a plane right? I could build a better plane than that. I could build a safer plane than that. Fuck you, Boeing. Boeing sucks. Fuck you. Lockmart, baby. Lockmart all the way. God, I love Lockmart. Lockmart and Raytheon. That you wanna invest in companies that make good aircraft and technology and that sort of thing, and you wanna if you wanna make money as a war profiteer, you invest in Raytheon and you invest in Lockmart, and that's how you make money. Not with Boeing. Boeing's a piece of shit. Boeing's a bunch of fucking idiots. No wonder they put Nikki Haley on their board. Nikki Haley's a fucking moron. Yeah. Everyone, yeah. Vivek Ramaswamy's a fucking idiot. And he's fucking spineless too, because that once he suspends his campaign and he's like, "Oh, I give up," which he will. He's not even fourth place in. I think he's not even like he might not even make it to fourth place in Iowa. He probably will, but like there's a chance he won't, and
Right.
he's gonna give up, and Trump's gonna offer him a cabinet position, which I think was his plan the whole time. But Trump literally insulted him publicly on Truth Social, and Vivek's like, I saw Trump's rhetoric and stuff, and I disagree with it and all that. But like he's already kind of a bootlicker for Trump, and he's gonna continue to be a bootlicker for Trump. Vivek Ramaswamy's a fucking idiot. Also, here's the thing that's really funny about Vivek Ramaswamy, if you'd like to hear it.
Tell me.
He's talking about how like, white people are being replaced in this country by immigrants. I think he might have Uncle Ruckus syndrome. Are you familiar with Uncle Ruckus syndrome?
Very funny.
Yeah. Does he know? Does he know? Do you think he knows? He has to know, right? Like that he can't not know what that sounds like, right? For an Indian dude, and I think he's a first generation immigrant, to like be talking about immigrants coming in and replacing all the white people in this country. Like does he know?
Does he know? I don't know.
He has to know. Like, have you ever seen that reaction photo where it's that photo of Riddler from the Batman, and it's like, does he know? It's like it was like a thumbnail for like one of those like videos about like fan speculation about that. It was wondering like if Riddler knew if Bruce Wayne was Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Which I have some thoughts about that. I'll save them if we've got time. But like, just that's the image that pops up whenever he talks about like replacement, and it's really fucking funny. It's really fucking funny. But like, yeah, does he know? It's hilarious.
Crazy. Crazy that show kind of knew what it was talking about. And,
yeah.
And it's
but
relevant right now.
Yeah, I guess here's my thing. about the Batman, and then we'll go to the big red button. Um. Like, so in the lead up to the Batman, in like some of the early marketing, they had said that Riddler knows Batman's secret identity. I distinctly remember them saying that. Now, I haven't been able to find it, but I do distinctly remember them saying that Riddler knows who Batman is. So, I was very confused when the movie came out and like he didn't know him. I'm like, am I misreading this scene? Because like they said that he would,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know. On the second watch, I was like, okay, I guess they were lying because he clearly doesn't know that Batman isn't Bruce Wayne
Right.
or is Bruce Wayne. But yeah, like that. Yeah, I was just very confused for a second, and yeah. So if that was a thing that I didn't just make up in my head, oh, that's another thumbnail image. It's like the same channel did another thumbnail about Moon Knight, and it's like a photo of Oscar Isaac all close up, and it says all in his head, and that is very relevant right now. Oh my god. That's crazy. That is absolutely fucking crazy. But yeah, that's really funny. But yeah, that was just a little nitpick that I felt relevant. You know, I wanted to talk about that because I was very confused and a little bit angry when they told me that, and I'm like, okay, so he doesn't know. I thought he did. I was expecting that. I thought they were gonna go somewhere with that, but no, I guess not. So all right, whatever. But I got over it anyway. The Batman is really good. Are you excited for the Batman 2?
Yeah, I am.
I have some thoughts. Do you think I think we have time. Let's talk about it. I don't care if this episode runs a little bit over. I don't mind. How do you feel about Hush? I want to ask that first because that is apparently going to be the main villain.
I mean, he's an interesting villain. I don't know much about him, but
Yeah.
I've heard that, like, I don't know, his he like the Batman movie of him is supposed to be pretty good. So
Yeah.
they bring him to live action, then there's potential.
So in his original introduction, it's kind of obvious who he was. Because they bring up like they make up this new character who has supposedly always been childhood friends with Bruce Wayne the whole time. And who is just now this mastermind, and they're like, you know, oh, who's this mastermind villain who's like, you know, so smart, and he's like becoming Bruce Wayne and stuff. Who is he? And it's like very obviously just the brand new character who they invented for this comic book, right? So that was sort of, you know, frustrating. So like that sort of first outing for him didn't really go super well, but he has a new backstory in the Batman universe. Oh shit, actually, hang on. They've done him well. I can think of one point where they did him really well, and I can think of one point where they did him really poorly. And what's really interesting is they are direct. One is a direct sequel of the other. Have you played the Arkham series?
No, I haven't.
Are you okay with spoilers on them?
Yeah, go for it.
So, in Batman Arkham City, we find a bunch of murder victims who have parts of their face cut off. Like their whole fucking face is cut off and covered in bandages, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we finally track down this lair of a villain, and we find out who's been killing these people and cutting off their faces. And we go in there, and we get trapped behind a wall, and this guy comes out wearing a bunch of bandages, and he's like, hey, check this out, bro. Unwraps the bandages. It's Bruce fucking Wayne. And obviously he doesn't know he's talking to Bruce fucking Wayne, but he's like, you know, it's Tommy Elliott, Batman. I think he figures it out later, but he's like, oh shit, this guy's pretending to be Bruce Wayne. I have to not blow my cover. But Hush fucking wins, right? He's like, yep, I look like Bruce Wayne now, and I'm gonna do evil shit. Don't get in my way, asshole. And then he walks away. The Batman figures out how to get the gate open, and like he's gone. He won. He won in Arkham City. So that's really cool. They did him really well there. And then in Arkham Knight, he's just fucking awful, right? Like he just has like uh uh I guess there's like an interesting moment when he like comes up to Wayne Tower and like you drive up to the garage as Batman and you are playing as someone who looks like Bruce Wayne. He comes out of the elevator looking like Bruce Wayne. And you're like,
Right.
oh shit, I guess Batman got changed and he wants to look like Bruce Wayne because his assistant's still there. And so he like rolls up and he's like takes Lucius Fox at gunpoint, and you're like, oh shit, we've been playing as Hush the whole time. And
That's
then
actually sick.
yeah, and then Batman just sort of shows up and deals with him pretty quickly. I mean, it's a cool way that he deals with him because like Batman like comes up there, takes his mask off, and he's like, hey Tommy, take your best shot. And he's like, holy shit, Bruce Wayne is Batman. And like he uses that distraction to sort of defeat him. But yeah, I wish there was a longer side mission there. But that was a really cool reveal to be like, oh shit, we were playing as Hush during that moment. That was interesting. But yeah, it's hard to do Hush right in execution. So I'm hoping the Batman, they've changed his identity a little bit. They've changed his origin story a little bit. So hopefully they can sort of make him interesting. But I don't know how they're going to do like the bandages on his face thing, right? Maybe it'll be sort of like with Riddler, where like maybe he gets like horrifically disfigured and he wears
Right.
the bandages on his face, but it's also like
I mean, the
an
cool thing is
homage.
we know that like they can do practical makeup pretty well from
Yeah,
the
like
limited
did we
scene of the
see?
Joker.
Yeah, we didn't get to see all of the Joker's face, but that what we did see was pretty good. How did you feel Barry? I don't want to say his last name. Barry did as Joker.
I mean, I like the scene.
How
Just
did
kind
you
of
feel
like,
about the deleted scene?
just kind of fun having like, um, I mean, he was pretty compelling for a foil.
Yeah, I I don't think he's sort of Joker like enough. He feels a little too movie Joker and not like comics Joker, if that makes sense, right? He's a little too Joaquin Phoenix and Heath Ledger and not enough Mark Hamill and Jack Nicholson, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Like, I
Like
would expect him to be more, I don't know, like,
quippy, jokey.
yeah,
Yeah.
he just, I mean, like, those Jokers make jokes,
Yes.
but
I want
he, I mean, it still felt like he was taunting Batman, but
yes.
I get like wanting more of that. But I mean,
Yeah.
he wasn't. I'm kind of glad it wasn't put in the movie because it would have felt like, damn, we're missing something. We're missing like this, and it is kind of distracting from.
Yeah. I, I like that they didn't put it in the movie because it's a good scene,
Right.
but it doesn't tell us anything we don't already know or like won't already be shown to us later. And I feel like it would just take out the pacing a little bit.
Yeah.
So
It was
yeah,
like it was more worthwhile just having the Riddler and Batman have that scene together.
yeah,
Because I
and
actually I liked the implication that he knew who he was, but then you find out he doesn't.
yes, and I just think like right in the middle of the mystery part, if you added in a scene where he goes and talks to Joker, and like it would be really obvious that it was Joker. So it's just sort of like, you know, like eh. I don't like that reveal for the Joker. I don't like that would be the reveal
Like
of
his
him as the
introduction,
Joker.
right?
Yes, in
Yeah,
that universe, right? Like I much prefer the intro we got for him because that was awesome.
right.
That was
Yeah,
so
I feel
cool.
like you have to be very careful how you introduce him. I really
Yes.
like his introduction in a certain Batman animated movie that I won't specify because you don't expect it. You don't expect him to be in the movie at all because the movie
Oh
is like
shit, yeah.
not about. It's not even about him for most of the game.
I think I'm you mean most of the movie. You said most of the game there. Are you talking about Arkham Origins?
No, I'm talking about a movie.
Okay. Well, you said game, so I was like,
Oh, I
is he
meant
talking about
movie.
Arkham Origins? Because
But
Arkham Origins had a reveal of the Joker being the surprise villain, and yeah, not my favorite, but yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Let me can I post it in the chat and you just say yes or no?
sure, why not?
Uh,
Let's see how good your Batman knowledge is. It is.
yeah, I like that one. That one's good.
Yes. Highly
Sorry.
recommend people to watch some animated Batman because,
Yes.
I mean,
Um,
just
yeah.
rip Kevin Conroy.
Oh God, rip Kevin Conroy. I don't know what I'm gonna do when Mark Hamill dies. That's gonna hit me like a train.
Yeah,
Fuck.
so let's hope he lives forever.
Honestly, right? I'd love that. Mark Hamill, you're legally no longer allowed to die. Sorry, bud.
And no longer allowed to play the Joker.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to without Kevin. Honestly.
Exactly. Respect.
Oh,
Respect
he
the
had a
man's
really
wishes.
good final outing as Joker, though, right? Like Arkham Knight is fucking phenomenal.
I mean, a lot of stuff he's done.
That's true. Honestly, I think that's what I'm gonna do next. Like video games wise. So on my channel, I played Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, but I haven't played Arkham Knight yet. So I want to do that at some point. But like, uh, I'll work my way up to that. I've sort of started a different series. I have too many things going on. I have too many series going on. I don't want to have to start a fourth series, but goddamn, I fucking love Arkham Knight. It's so good. Arkham Knight has a really good story. It's not as good as Arkham City. Arkham City is peak, but yeah, rip Kevin Conroy. I haven't touched the Arkham series since Kevin Conroy died, so I don't know how I would react to that because I think he passed away while I was finishing Arkham City, and that was just really sad. Yeah, and Arlene Sorkin had passed away as well, a few months before that, and that was really sad as well. Both gone way too soon, honestly. It yeah. Yeah. It's really sad to just like lose all those people who were like heroes in your childhood.
We gotta appreciate what they've done.
Exactly. And I think that's sort of the thing to think about is like yeah, you've really gotta think about that and uh like, you know, I don't think that most people would be like, you can never do anything with my characters once I'm dead. You know, once I've played a character, you got to retire it, right? I think most creative people would want you to appreciate their legacy and like move on and you know enjoy new people stepping into their shoes. So while I will say that the next person to step into the Batman shoes has really big shoes to fill, you know, I wish them luck, and I'm excited to see what new people bring to the role of Batman. But you know,
Word.
damn, Kevin, what a absolute king. Yeah. It's sort of the same thing with Jimmy Buffett. I went out. What is it? 2 nights ago. With my cousin to downtown Nashville. Um, we stopped off at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, and he is so like not caught up on the news that he didn't even know Jimmy Buffett died. And I
Damn.
was like, and like we walked past the Jimmy Buffett Margaritaville. I'm like, damn, I made myself sad. He's like, why? And I'm like, oh, you didn't hear Jimmy Buffett died in September? He's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, he was my hero. He's like, you know what? We'll go there. And we'll pour one out for good old JB. So we did, and yeah, my cousin's great. Shout out Will if you're listening to this. I don't know. Will's great. He
Nice.
yeah, he's a great host.
Shout out to
Thank you
Will.
again, Will, for everything. Love you, man. Can't wait to come down there for another visit because he's a great host. But yeah, that was. I think I've made my peace with Jimmy Buffett passing on from this world, and I think we can appreciate what he gave us while he was here. Because I was still grieving that, and it feels sort of silly to talk about that. That like, you know, I'm grieving this dude who like I don't know at all, right? But like he had like this big impact in my life, right? Like I don't even think he saw me, but like, you know, I saw him, and he influenced my life, and you know, and yeah, it feels really weird to grieve that, but like, you know, I've had to do that a lot in 2023, and
Right.
yeah, you know, because one of my other big influences, tragically passed away right before Christmas, and I'm still coming to terms with that one too, but like, yeah, it's 2023 was a rough year for
the world.
for the world, for death specifically, and it's yeah, I struggled a lot with that, and I'm processing it in my own way because that impacted me on a more personal level than Jimmy Buffett passed away, because like that was he was a big influence on like my career path, so I worry that I can't even like work without him, right? So that's just depressing and really sad, and yeah, but you got to move on eventually. You got to come to terms with it. You got to be like, okay, no more grieving. You got to respect them, and you got to be like, appreciate what they gave to us, and try to live on in their legacy and hopefully make them proud. So, God, this really is the fucking life lesson episode. God damn it. This really is. God, I feel so preachy.
You're speaking to the heavens, man.
Yeah. If I ignored the victims of a hurricane, you could call me Joel Osteen. I'm such a preacher right now. That's a good burn there. If you're familiar, yeah, if you're familiar with Joel Osteen and you don't like him, that's a sick burn there. So if you appreciate that, you're a real one. Fuck Joel Osteen, by the way. He's a piece of shit, and he's boring too. He's such a shit preacher. If you've ever had like grandparents who like had him on when you were there, and you know you couldn't like change the channel because you know Grandpa loves to watch his fucking Joel Osteen and shit. Like you know, Joel fucking
that man
sucks.
cured COVID like 50 months before the world did.
You know what? You're right. Sorry, I take it all back. Joel, you're a hero. I wish you would have told me about that because I got COVID in fucking what is it? June, July 2022. That was not fun.
You should have heard. He cured it. He cured it
Shit,
like months
man.
ago.
You're right. Damn. That was yeah. I'm sorry to impugn your legacy, Mr. Osteen.
Missed out on the news and caught COVID.
Very true. That happened. Yeah. Anywho, speaking of the news, Big Red Button. I already asked it before, but I want to get your thoughts on this. No more cringy Trump jokes ever, but he wins a second term in office.
That's fucking terrible.
Yes. He wins the 2020 election or 2024 election.
I would not press that button.
But no more cringy Trump jokes.
Let the jokes
ever.
Whatever keeps him out of that office.
I don't know, man. Some of those jokes were pretty bad. Ugh.
So was his presidency.
That's true. But like, come on, remember like the Drumpf thing where it's like his real name is not actually Trump. Take that, cuck conservatives, you know? Like, do you remember that?
I mean,
and like
yeah.
calling him Cheeto Man and like all that shit. Like, it was bad. It's really bad. It's really, really, really bad. Like, come on. Shit. Ugh. Ugh. I'm
I think that was a pretty easy red button. That was great.
I'm not pressing it, but I think I'm a little bit more conflicted about it than you are. And I feel bad for saying that. But those fucking Trump jokes are really bad. Like I'm really hoping. Oh fuck. You know what? You know what I just realized just now? We're about 2 months away from the Oscars.
Oof.
Yeah. Right?
Kind of like that. Those first, not first Oscars, but the last Oscars.
I mean that one was a pretty tight ship, but the
Yeah, there's a tight punch, tight slap.
are you talking? Oh, I'm talking about 2023, the one where Everything Everywhere All at Once won everything. I'm talking about that one.
Oh, well, I'm also talking about like.
You're talking about 2022. I didn't watch that one. I skipped that one. My
Oh,
parents were watching it when the slap happened, and I was like, "Oh shit, that's cool," and I wasn't paying
that's
attention.
cool.
I was busy. I was doing some other shit, I think. Yeah. I was. In all fairness, my grandma had just died, so I was I was busy. I was doing some shit.
That is fair.
But yeah, and I didn't watch a lot of movies that year. Because I was like staying at home with my dog, and I didn't feel nervous, or I felt more nervous leaving him at home than I usually did. So, like, I just didn't really watch a lot of movies. So, yeah. But yeah, no. 2023 was okay. You know, they made a couple jokes about the slap, but there weren't too many like cringy Trump references. It was done and dusted very quickly. You know, they got him in and out, and it was really nice. Um, the most recent one that I watched before 2023 was uh it started with Janelle Monáe. She put on a show, and Eminem showed up. Like, they got Eminem to do "Lose Yourself," and everyone was sort of cringing because it's like, Eminem, man, that song's really old, dude. You haven't really done anything this
He's
year.
really old, man.
He is really old. He's almost as old as my fucking mom, dude. That's crazy. He's like almost 50. Cause all right, wait, he might actually be 50.
I think he actually is 50.
No. Please tell me that's not true. Please tell me that is not true. Was he born in 1970? He's older than my mom. Fuck.
That's really funny.
Fuck. 51. Cause all right, cause he said he was 45 when what was that song? Kill Shot came out, right? The diss track against MGK.
Right.
He's like, I'm 45 and I'm still outselling you. I didn't realize that was 5 years ago. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Yeah. That was rough. That was a bad Oscars. That was a bad Oscars. Fuck. Yeah, not great. 20. I think it was the 2020 Oscars, and yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
It was bad.
It was really bad, and they gave Joaquin Phoenix Best Actor. And that was bad. I didn't like that. Yeah, not great. Not great. Yeah. Yep. So I'm looking forward to this year's Oscars with cautious optimism. But I know they're gonna make a bunch of fucking Trump jokes, and I hate it, and I want to die. Okay, I want to fucking die because I can tell I have about 2 months to prepare for the amount of cringe that we're gonna get from these Oscars. So I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about it. So we all just need to prepare now. But yeah, that's the final life lesson from this one. Is get ready for the fucking 2024 Oscars. They're gonna be really fucking cringe. So
Ah,
yeah. Now just imagine if Trump wins in this election. Now imagine how cringe the jokes are gonna be in 2025.
I don't want to.
Yeah. So everyone vote fucking blue. Vote anyone but Trump so we don't have to worry about fucking that again. Please God, cuz I can't handle that much more cringe. So please. Please and thank you. Love you. Much love. Big love. Over and out. Thank you Justin Connor for
Nice.
your patronage. Good segue, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you Justin for your contribution to helping us put this episode out, or all these episodes. Sorry, we really appreciate it. Helps us out. If you want a cool shout out like that, head on over to patreon.com/IIHS podcast. That's IIHS podcast, all one word. Where we give you a cool shout out if you're join our $3 tier, but in your $5 tier, you get an even cooler shout out and you get early access to all these episodes ad free. So you're hearing this on Monday instead of Tuesday. Good for you. Yeah, it's literally less than 12 hours. Sorry about that. It's been very hectic. It's been quite a week. So yeah. So head on over there for that. We also do movie commentaries. I reckon we'll probably do an Oscar commentary. Either, yeah, I reckon we'll probably do that. So I'm excited for that too. But yeah. If you want to follow us on social media, we are at IIHS Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and YouTube. So if you want updates, that sort of thing, we are over there. Follow us there. Get updates, topic suggestions, Q&A, that sort of thing. We're all over there. And other than that, I think that's it. Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered it.
Yeah, me too. Or at least if I had anything to add, it's been we're kind of already over on this episode, so we're kind of we're at an hour and 30, so we got to cut it here. But yeah, thank y'all for listening. My name is Cal. I've been incredibly influential,
My name is Maxwell, and I've been highly successful.
and we'll talk to you guys next week. See ya.